Hi, it's Dr. Rimka. I'm going to be efficient. I'm going to start making videos that I can put into multiple courses. This is just one group of one supplement that I've been testing out, retesting out. I have about 4 more brands over there that I've been using. So I have been using CBD oil or hemp oil, legal, no THC, basically. Products in my practice, 6-7 years now, for a while. So lots and lots and lots of people. I've tested out roughly somewhere, well over 30 products, different brands, researching them, getting certificate of analysis, trying them on myself, and usually in the 10 to 20 patient beta testing group for feedback, right? So as you test and retest, companies change, things change, their ownership changes, their manufacturing changes, their sourcing changes, whatever. I'll notice changes in my results and I don't like what I'm seeing, or a corner is cut, a cheaper substitution is put in, whatever. There's a reason we change products. And I'm like, this doesn't work anymore. Or, oh, here's one that's so much better. This is the best choice I had with the information I had. Then you find something better and you do it. No different than medications or surgical techniques. So we are deep into the stress of COVID and what that has done to family relationships, employment, states, travel. We've seen an unprecedented level of stress, things that none of us have ever experienced before, and we're going through it. And I want to explain a little bit more about what CBD does with the immune system. I have always been clinically using it for sleep, anxiety, basically deep sleep, pain, inflammation disorders, and brain-based kind of anxiety disorders. That's what I was really using it for a long time. And I knew about that really well, and the science enough, like really well. I was super confident. Then I totally changed my position on cannabis products in general, from being very anti to very pro. Okay. However, hemp is totally legal. It's the non-psychoactive, shorter, different type of plant than what we would call medical marijuana. So we have a different thing. But again, I totally changed my position once I truly understood the healing power of this, one of the most sacred healing plants on earth. So I'm in the state of Georgia. Medical marijuana is not legal. Plus, not everybody would even want it, even in the legal states, right? So having good hemp-based products with naturally extremely low 0.3% or less THC is what a hemp product is. And we could even pull that out and make it 0%, okay, has been a clinical game changer for the majority of my practice in the last 6-7 years. But I only get as results as good as the product. So the thing with any oil, whenever you have a supplement that's an oil, or the omega-3 is an oil, cod liver is an oil, vitamin A is an oil, vitamin D3 is an oil. These oils are the most toxic, potentially substances, and they're the most likely they become rancid, and that becomes cancerous, carcinogenic. So oils can't get heated up, can't get cooked. Think of McDonald's, the oil, like it's just, that's the bad. You don't want to cook it. And you don't want to use a bunch of chemicals to process. So you can do it really cheaply, and you can use heat and dangerous poisonous toxins to pull an oil out of a seed, out of a plant. And then you end up with, well, yeah, you got it, but then it's stuck with all the poisons and heavy metals and solvents, and you don't want that. It takes a lot more effort, more power, specialized machinery to get it clean, extracted in a cold way, a chemical-free way, and to be stable. The problem with CBD oil is that it's very hard to absorb. Everybody knows this. It's all about, can you extract it in a safe way without destroying it? Can you extract it in a safe way without destroying it, without adding dangerous chemicals? And can you do it in a way that the body can actually absorb? So when I first started using CBD myself, I was using roughly 300 to 400 milligrams a day. The product I'm taking today gives me a better results with 44 milligrams a day. So I want you to see the drastic difference. That means this is 5 to 6 times a higher absorption rate than this of what gets into my blood. Because what you take into your mouth or anything else or rub on your skin or doesn't matter if it doesn't get into your bloodstream. And then it actually doesn't matter unless it gets into your cells. But it certainly can never get into your cell if you can't get it into the blood. All right. So I have switched again to what I think is the most extraordinary hemp product on the market available to everybody because of the obscene bioavailability, how it absorbs so quickly within 20 minutes right into your bloodstream. Now, cannabinoid CBD, that's what it stands for, cannabidiols, how important to the immune system and inflammation they are. And all of that deals with everything we're dealing with. If you're having any inflammation in your brain, you don't sleep well. If you have inflammation in your brain, you don't have a good immune system, right? And it goes throughout the whole body. So I wanted to show you a little bit of some cut and splice information just to tell you about something that most of your docs don't know. I was not taught about what is called the endocannabinoid system in school. Let me share my screen. So let's talk about 2020 in particular. This has been an incredibly unique year, an incredibly uniquely intense of a burden to the human physiology, a burden that none of us alive have ever seen before. We've never had this type of COVID-19, and what it's done historically has never been seen in the world in modern times. Any record that we know of, right? We're also dealing with these wild quarantines, the masks to wear, not to mask. We've never been asked to wear, masks like this before. The stress of money and businesses closing and not being able to get what you need, childcare issues, schooling issues, unprecedented. What the entire globe is managing. We've also made it not okay to get together and have community support, and that is a massive de-stressor for humans. We are pack animals. We do use that to help us, and it builds your immune system to be together. We've had major challenges to mental health, and we've seen increases in alcoholism has gone back, drug addiction, people falling off the wagon, suicide attempts. And it makes total sense, right? There's the straw is breaking the camel's backs in people's lives right now. We also have like pre-election. That's where we are right now. You've never seen things like with politics so extreme. Like really, this is just we've had polarization, amplification, inflammation of language and social media and just fascinating, intense times. You have families fighting within the same home, and right, people are addicted to the news. It's just nonstop, 5-6 TVs going on. You can't get away from it. This social media. I mean, just really. Then you also we've had like wild amounts of wildfires, hurricanes, natural disasters, all happening. This has all been going on in the last month. Okay. So the bigger these stresses are going on a human system, physiologically maintaining homeostasis is becoming really, really hard. So knowing that, it's time to do things you've never done before, you've never tried before. And throughout the entire through the sleep course and the immune course, I bring up a lot of things such as breathing. I spend a tremendous amount of time on them. I bring up electrical devices you can put on your body. I talk about light and darkness, and how to manage your environment. Maybe this sounded crazy to change your light bulbs. Now you're thinking, well, I'm going to change these light bulbs. It's really important because any little thing you do, my friend, Dr. Peterson, says the small hinges swing large doors. If you can change the hinges just a little bit, add a few things, take a few things away, and it pushes that door open the way you need to. That's what we need. And I'm trying to help give you the small levers, and you pick which ones you want to, the hinges, and you pick which ones you need to put on to swing that door open. Okay. Some of you just want a little bit. Some of you want it to fly open. All right. So the endocannabinoid system is an internal system that we have where we make and receive cannabinoids. We are designed to get them, and stress and immunity are deeply involved. Okay. So these cannabinoids act on these receptors that are all over our body. Interesting factoid, the organ with the #1 amount of receptors of cannabinoid, receptors. They don't have to be endogenous. So endo means we make it ourselves. If I put this in my mouth, it's not an endo anymore. It's a cannabinoid from food. This came from an herb, right? Came from a plant. It's plant medicine. So the #1 location in the human body, and it's the female body, it's the uterus. So I have more cannabinoid receptors. I'm designed to receive a lot of cannabinoid signals to my uterus. And the #1 food source on earth with the most cannabinoids is human breast milk. So as a mother gets a woman, uterus is prepared with lots of cannabinoids to develop a fetus and deliver a baby, right? Then the human breast milk to feed that baby is full of medium chain fatty acids, all fat, ketones, and cannabinoids. So when that baby rolls its eyes back, when it is breastfeeding, that relaxation moment, it's cannabinoids. It's CBD that the mother makes to give to the baby, okay, to help soothe it, to help lower its stress, and to activate and modulate the immune system, actually the neurotransmitter system, and its hormonal system. But we're just going to focus on this part right now. So there's some very interesting studies all over the place. And one of these with these astronauts found that when you go to space, their cortisol levels didn't rise, which is kind of weird because we're not getting a normal stress response. But what they found then, though, the endocannabinoids spiked. So you have cortisol would tell you you're stressed, and cannabinoids would tell you you're relaxed, and you had this opposite response. Very, very interesting. So we know there's a biological response, and we think that might be why there's an attempt to lower that massive physiological stress the body's under. Pretty interesting stuff. Just that we know that this happens. The cannabinoid system responds to biological environmental stressors, right? We know it's very calming during everyday mild stress and frustration. This is well known that ongoing psychological stress, which is what everybody is going through, is absolutely linked to a decline in your immune response. The more stressed out you are, the more likely to get sick you are. And the CBD, taking cannabinoids and the endocannabinoid system, is very involved in this normal stress response. Endogenous cannabinoids work on what are called the CB receptors. We have different ones, CB1, CB2, there's a whole bunch of little funny names, but CBD, taking it this way, works on those, but it also works right on serotonin receptors. So it has a little bit of a different effect. So taking it externally, as we would have been if we were foraging herbs and things of that nature, we also get input to serotonin, which is the mood regulation, feel good, happy. Serotonin is true like happiness, right? Stable happiness. It also helps relieve stress because it brings a lot of blood flow into the parts of your brain that are known to activate and control anxiety. The amygdala, the hippocampus is memory, hypothalamus, a whole bunch is going on there, you guys, regulating everything, and the cingulate cortex. But just to give you an idea, like, it has many, many actions on how it calms. So let's talk about inflammation. So inflammation, or oxidative stress, right? You hear antioxidants are very popular. It's kind of the foundation of all disease. If you have inflammatory problem process happening in the body wants to come in there and correct it. And it usually does the majority of the time. It handles it, and it does its business. And then you have times where it doesn't. And we seem to have increasing opportunities now that the body can't seem to handle the assault. We're assaulting it too much, and we're not giving it what it needs so the systems work. In general, there are some clinicians that are looking at this as, like, we're calling it acquired endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. Like, you don't ever ingest enough cannabinoids, enough CBD and hemp and cannabis, medical marijuana, whatever, you're not getting enough in. So your body can't make enough. So you have an immune deficient response because you don't have enough of these things. I personally, this is not in the literature, it's the Dr. Rimka thing. I think this has been misclassified. I think cannabidiol, CBDs, should be an essential nutrient. They are not considered an essential fatty acid. I think they should be. Omega-3 is an essential fatty acid. Because we can make it, we don't call it essential, but I don't know, it's a tough thing for me where I think people really aren't getting enough of this. You know, they can make enough to get by, but not to be optimized, not to thrive. You know, they're barely getting by with it. So it does a bunch of things. It helps, you know, most of the studies on CBD have been done in animals. Most of the studies on medical marijuana, animals. It's very hard to get these things to research. So there's a lot of research actually, but most of it hasn't been done in America. And a lot of it's done on animals. But lung health, you know, with that, it does a lot of different lung things. If we're dealing with inflammatory, we're looking at lung infectious, you know, let's just talk of the times of COVID. This is potentially something because studies have shown the ways it helps the lungs. Let's just leave it at that. I'm not saying it helps that thing at all. I'm just saying there's information that you probably don't know about, okay? So things to consider, final kind of points, is that the endocannabinoid system, it's been around for a very long time, okay? Hundreds of thousands, millions of years in us. It's been working for us and doing this long before we knew it even existed. Just because you didn't know it was there doesn't mean you haven't been depending upon it. We have been depending upon it. And from some artificial laws, we've stripped an herb from our diet that we used to eat, and they called it illegal, but now because of a farm bill that was a little bit of a change, it's been legalized in many ways again, and we can get it back into our bodies. So there's something to be said that there's a chronic subclinical deficiency of endocannabinoids, right? And the system is not getting what it really needs. And we know that the immune system absolutely, isn't that funny, you guys? I'm gonna fix this right now because it's driving me well, crazy. That the immune system is actually governed and controlled. It's modulated by this system. It kind of probably sits above it. We don't totally know. It's very hard to rank systems in the human body to say this one's better than this one dominates, because everything's holistic, synergistic, and you have to see things in context. It's really a multi-therapeutic approach, a multi-dimensional approach of how the body's working, more holographic than we even can understand. We have to make things linear because our brains are too simple at this point to understand what's really going on. But this is being talked about in literature. This is being talked about in clinical setting and what we're seeing and how we activate the cannabinoid system again by giving more cannabinoids to the system. Our patients are getting better and better because the immune system is getting better, the neurotransmitter system gets better, hormone system gets better. This leads to better sleep, better immune response, better mood regulation. So it's a tool, and there's lots of phytocannabinoids, not just the cannabidiols that we have here. But the big thing is dosing, and there's really not a dose way. What we've been coming up with is like this milligrams per kilogram of body weight measure. I have found clinically in 7 years, it's just to be completely inaccurate. You have no idea how someone's going to respond. We just start, if you're small and you're a child, we're going to start really slow and low and see what happens. You know, generally you're bigger, you probably need more, but maybe not. I've had people 200 pounds heavier than me have 25% of the dose that I need and have a better response. Like, there's genetic factors to see how you metabolize it, how you respond, how sensitive you are, okay? But overall, what matters is bioavailability and the delivery system. This has the smallest stable nanotech particle size in all of the hemp industry. The particle sizes are 20 micrometers Nobody is that. People are calling it nano when it's 200 and 300 and even 500. Those are not the same as a 20 size. So it's completely different in sizing, completely different in bioavailability. This is a 5 to 6 times faster absorption rate. You're at max therapeutic level in your blood as tested, blood testing in the lab with this product in 20 minutes. Other products, and I've used them, I've seen it, takes 1 to 2 hours to get to their highest point, and their highest point is here, and this is there. Much higher dose therapeutically, and it makes a huge difference in how people feel it and how they respond, and you can use much less throughout the day. Just some great articles you can look up. I'm going to leave them there. You can search, right, that journal and look at that. You can screenshot it. I'm not going to even list them. There's just a lot that you can find. There's just so much stuff out there about what this is doing to gut health, immune health. It's kind of stunning how much information is out there. This is not pseudoscience. It's not woo-woo. Everybody needs to be on a very good, high quality, highly absorbable CBD hemp product, right? That's zero high. There's no like, if there's any stigma issues, that's really become our biggest barrier with how do I get the 74-year-old to take this? That is like, thinks it's a drug, not a drug, not a drug, you know? It's like they understand that they can put turmeric, herbs on their food, and herbs are potent for healing and moving genetics. And this is an herb, and we're just using it in a very powerful therapeutic way so you can access it and get consistent results in improving your immune system, your neurotransmitter system, which helps with deep sleep, and your hormonal system, helping blunt cortisol as well. Again, helping with sleep, stress response throughout the day. The calmer you are throughout the day, the easier it is for you to uncoil at night before you fall asleep and actually hit good deep sleep. So that's why I'm presenting it. And I've been taking hemp for 6-7 years, since whenever I, started using it with my patients. And this is absolutely the most superior product I've ever encountered. It was developed by Dr. Christopher Shade, PhD biochemist from Quicksilver Scientific, and he is selling it with Sonesta. All right, thanks guys.